In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a super healthy chocolate that doesn't contain any sugar or any additives or any of the bad stuff that you can make at home with only 4 ingredients. And this one's particularly good for your teeth. And the reason why is because it contains an ingredient called xylitol, which is a natural sweetener, which has a similar sweetness to sugar. This is why we can make this without sugar. Put in xylitol that's actually good for your teeth rather than something that's actually bad for your teeth. Now, I've experimented a lot with this recipe and I've made some really terrible chocolate bars. I finally honed it down to this chocolate bar with this recipe, which is what I'm going to go through in this video. And I think this is pretty good. This is something that I put now with my oats in the morning, and I will sometimes have it after a meal because xylitol is an ingredient that's really good to have after you eat something, because xylitol has been shown to reduce the bad bacteria that causes cavities in your teeth. So therefore it's good to have after you eat. So the ingredients that I've got here, so we've got 4 ingredients. We've got the xylitol, and what I've done with it, so this is what the xylitol looks like. You can get this from Sainsbury's in the UK, or you can get it from Amazon. You can get it anywhere really. And what I've done here is I blended it, because this was my first mistake, is that if you put granules in this chocolate, just making sure that this is on, and if you put granules in the chocolate, what happens is it doesn't really dissolve and it ends up really grainy, so the texture is not very nice. So what I've done here is I blended it as much as possible. You want it more like a powder rather than granules, so the more you can blend it, the better. And that will allow it then to dissolve better into the chocolate, which then gives you a better consistency. So we want 20% of the chocolate to be xylitol. So I'm going to do 200 grams, which is going to fill 2 of these bars here. So this is going to give me 40 grams of xylitol. I then measured out 20% of 100% chocolate. So this is again something you can get from Amazon or Sainsbury's, again if you're in the UK. And this is the chocolate bar that I'm using. It doesn't really matter too much which chocolate you use. Just see if that can focus. There we go. Now, it is better to get organic. However, the problem is it's so much more expensive. So I've used a bit of both in the past. I'm currently just using this one. It's only a few pounds from Sainsbury's. So I measure out 20% of this. So we've got 40 grams here ready to go. And then we've got cocoa butter. Now this is something that I messed around with a lot as well. So again, you can get this from Amazon, and you can either use coconut oil, butter, or cocoa butter. Now I found that coconut oil was okay. Butter was terrible. It tasted like chocolate butter. It tastes like you're eating a bar of butter that just got some cocoa powder in it. So that was absolutely not nice. I even threw it away. Coconut oil was okay. This is definitely the best. So I would actually suggest get some cocoa butter, because it's just what is normally used in chocolate. It's the taste that we're used to. And so what we're going to want is 30% of this. So that's going to be 60 grams for me. And then we've also got then, of course, cocoa powder. And again, you want 30 grams of this. This is organic cocoa powder that I got from Amazon. And so I've measured out here 60 grams. And so what's really important that I worked out is that you want the same ratio of cocoa butter as you're having cocoa powder. So that's really, really important. So what I've got here is some hot water that's just on the stove that is just starting to boil. And what I'm going to do is just measure out 60 grams of this cocoa butter, and then I'm going to start to melt it in the glass pot that I'm just going to put over the top of the hot water. Now what you also want to do is only start to melt 75% of the cocoa butter, and then we're going to then do the chocolate as well. So you want to keep back 25%, and the reason why is because if you want to help it get to a solid when you then cool it down, you want to, when you take it off, you want to then put the solids, so the cocoa butter solid and the chocolate solid, into it when it's off, so then it helps to cool down the chocolate a little bit faster. It's something that they call tempering. I'm not an expert on the process, but apparently it makes it go harder, so the texture is better. So what I'm going to do is just take out 25% of the cocoa butter, And then I'm just going to leave that to the side. And then what we're going to do is just put that on here and let that start melting. And you really don't need it boiling too much. You just need a bit of heat coming through and that will start to melt. All right, so that's just started to melt. That took a good few minutes. So now what I'm going to do is mix the cocoa powder in with the cocoa butter, and that's going to then make quite a nice chocolate looking liquid or solution. And then I'm going to put the chocolate in and start melting that as well. And then I'm going to pour in the xylitol and you're going to let that dissolve. Now you may notice it's a little bit thick, but that's okay because we're going to add in the cocoa butter and the chocolate when it comes off, which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to turn the gas off and I'm going to take it off the stove. And then I'm going to put the cocoa butter and the chocolate in there. And then while it's still hot, let it then dissolve. And so now I can start to see that the solution's getting a little bit more liquid and less thick, which is just right. If it's too thick, it's probably because you didn't put enough of the cocoa butter in. So provided you're getting that 1-to-1 ratio, then you're all right. If it's not thick enough, probably means you didn't get enough cocoa powder in there. So that's now all melted, and I think that's as good as that's going to get. So now all I'm going to do is pour it into the molds. These molds, by the way, you can just purchase in a lot of places. I just got these off Amazon, like most things these days. They're not very expensive. You can get like 3 for, I think it was like £5 or £6, something like that. I'll put all the links in the description below of all the ingredients, so they're not hard to get at all. Okay, good. So that is now ready just to leave and to set. Now something that I also worked out is you can either leave this out or you can put it straight in the fridge. Apparently, if you leave it out for at least the first hour, it's going to solidify better and it's going to be more of a, it's going to be harder than if you put it straight into the fridge. It won't solidify as much. So what I do is leave it out for an hour, and after about an hour or so, then I'll put it in the fridge to continue solidifying. So it's as easy as that. So give it a try. I'll put the recipe and all the ingredients down in the list and all links to where you can buy them in the description below. So give it a go. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, then please do so, and I'll see you on my next video. Thanks for watching.